Hey guys, welcome back. I bet there's times during the day, multiple times a day, where you're sitting there daydreaming about the times when you were in the arcade being a total badass, right? You could rock that light gun like no one's business. Problem is, we're out of shape now. We're a little bit older. But you know what? We're gonna need some serious training if we're gonna get back to this. Okay, maybe we're not gonna get that good, but I know we can get good again. But the only way we're gonna do that is if you figure out how to get the light gun to work at home. Now in this episode, we're gonna see how to get this to work on an LCD screen, because you know what? CRTs are a little hard to come by these days. Well, they're around, but most of us have LCDs. So how do we get this to work with that? Well, in this episode, or this proof of concept, we're gonna get this puppy working so we can get back to being badass again. Because that's right, we're still badass, we just need a little bit of training. So sit back, relax, and let's do it. All right guys, so let me tell you a little bit about this Ultimarc AimTrak. So it's meant to plug directly into USB. I am using a PC build for this. It is something you could set up on a RetroPie. This isn't a tutorial video about how to set it up. I just want to give you some basics so you can see what's possible. So we can get back to that training we talked about. Okay, so when we get this gun in place and we put it in the USB, you're gonna see that it also comes with this bar, this LED bar. And this LED bar is what tracks where this gun is on the screen. And if you see, I don't know if you can see that with the lights, the mouse cursor is going up and down and left to right. Now that will do that in the initial plug-in. So when you initially plug it in without doing anything, it should start to track that to some degree. It may not be perfect because it hasn't been calibrated yet. And the one thing I will tell you, when you open up the AimTrak software to do the calibration, you're going to want to calibrate the gun from the place that you're playing. I made that mistake early on. I'd calibrate it close, and then all of a sudden I'd step back here to play the game, and it wasn't working well. The other thing I'm going to tell you is if you go down this path, there are several caveats to this. These guns can be finicky, so I'm not saying that the Ultimarc AimTrak's the only one. There's others out there. And again, this isn't meant to be an instructional video because there's many videos like that, and I'm going to leave links in the description of some videos to help you guys set it up. But they can be finicky. If you unplug it and plug it back in, it can create a new device ID for it at times, which will mess up some of the settings. It might show up as a different gun, and then you'll have to go into MAME and configure that specific settings for that gun, because maybe it was recognized as gun 2 and now it's recognized as gun 3. Those are all things that can be manipulated in the MAME.ini file, so you can hard code the gun to be a specific device ID. That way, if you did unplug and plug it back in, it doesn't mess it up. You will have to calibrate these every now and then. You'll go in and it won't be as accurate. So that's just something to be aware of. They do sell a holster for this that you can put in the side of the machine, which I think is really cool. You can have 2 of them running at once. You can probably have more than 2. I haven't actually played with more than 2. This one does have a solenoid in it, which gives you that force feedback. I've noticed with this one in particular, it's acting up. It's not working all the time. So I don't know if that's a common thing with the force feedback guns, but this one I'm having some issues with that. So I don't know. I have to go back to Ultimarc and ask them if that's something that's common. But the other thing too is it has, at the end of this cable, it has a separate cable for power. So it has one for USB and one for power. That power is to power the solenoid that gives you that sort of force feedback type of an effect. So anyways, back to what I was saying. You get to the screen, initial calibration, vertical, horizontal, and at that point, once it's calibrated, you can get into your games. And there is going to be setup there too, but I'm going to showcase a couple of the games that I think are fun to play on this and seem to play pretty good. So you guys get an idea of how well does this work. And the reason why I did this on an Arcade1up, I wanted you to realize that with this LED bar, it would work on a 1-up, no problem. So if you wanted to make a gun themed 1-up, you can totally do that. Now, what I'm showcasing here could also be done on a large arcade cabinet. Typically what you do then is the light bar gets disassembled and you'd hide that assembly somewhere. You could do the same thing with Arcade1up. It just makes it more streamlined, it'll look nicer, and you can tuck this out of the way in an area where maybe you wouldn't see it as much. So that's kind of the basics. Let's jump into a couple of the games and see how this thing looks. All right, let's do it. Let's get back to that training. As you can see, it's playing pretty good. And these bombs are super satisfying to use. To use these, you use your, I already told you this, but you use your, this little left button right here. These things come in waves. This game is very tedious. It definitely wears on your patience level. All right, here's a closer look at the gameplay. I love this game so much. It's not even funny. I pumped so many quarters into this game back in, I don't know, maybe 1991. I can't remember when exactly this game came out, but you'll notice I use those bombs quite a bit. That red button on the side that I talked about earlier, you do need to configure that. So in the Ultimarc AimTrak setup, you set what you want those buttons to do. So in this case, I set that button to do just this, and then in the MAME configuration for this particular game, it has a configuration, and then I set that button to do the bomb. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, let's jump on to the next game. But I love this game. I could play it for hours. So one of my other favorite games was Time Crisis because it used that foot pedal, so you could duck and then get back up and shoot. What I did was I mapped that duck button to this this red button right here. So you'll see when I press the red button, it'll duck and then it'll get back up. So pretty cool. So I'll show you that right now. All right, check it out. So I'm behind, press the red button. Red button. He also reloads when you duck behind there too, which is good. Love this game. If you haven't never played this game, it's super fun. You should definitely check it out. Some of the graphics, admittedly, in this ROM aren't perfect, but it's pretty good. Still very playable. All right, so you guys get the point. There's your duck. That's a button you use to release. In this game, it actually reloads every time you do that. So it works really good, man. I'm a big fan of this game, and I think you'd have fun with it. If you set up a gun cabinet, I suggest you put this on it because it's a super fun game. Let's check out another one. So a rather iconic shooter from 1991 would absolutely be Area 51. So kind of a fun game. I'm sure everyone on here has either played it or seen it. It runs pretty good on here too. I'll give you a quick demo and then we'll move on to one more game. Oh, actually, you know what? This is good. So actually, what you're seeing here is the screen is not taking up the full resolution of the monitor. This is actually something that you can go change in MAME. So I'm actually gonna go do this real quick. It's good that it did this. So we're gonna exit out. When you go to, when you're at the main screen right here, actually sometimes the mouse is gonna be finicky because it's using the light gun. So if I right click on Area 51, you're gonna see some video options. There's an option here that says force aspect ratio on. We wanna shut that off. All right, now we should be able to return to the game without any issue, and we should be good to go. So let's go back into Area 51, and it should now take up the whole screen. We should be good. As you can see it now, it takes up the whole screen. So I've had that problem before, easy fix. All right, we're gonna do beginner. In this particular game, you need to shoot off the screen to reload. And that was the same in the arcade. Reload. I always kind of sucked at this game. This game does have a little bit of screen tearing. Don't shoot the innocents, man. Ah, shoot, didn't reload on me. All right, so that's Area 51. Just a quick walkthrough, but super cool, guys. I'll do one more and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so I noticed in that last game the gun calibration was a bit off, and I think it's because I moved quite a bit. I moved further back than when I originally calibrated it. So a little tip here is you can hold this red button on the side. It's usually mapped to this button, and if you hold it down for about 5 seconds, it'll actually start the calibration process. What the calibration process does is it takes a mouse cursor, moves it up to the left, you shoot that, moves up to the right, you shoot that, and then moves it up to the bottom and you shoot that. It can be a little finicky at times, though. There'll be times where you'll be shooting the bottom one over and over again, or the top right and top left, and it doesn't seem to be taking. That's when you just need to make small, not drastic, but small gun changes, and you'll get it right. And every now and then you might have to calibrate it multiple times, and then once you feel like it's dialed in. I'm using the crosshairs. Some people don't like the crosshairs. The game I'm about to play is Duck Hunt, which is kind of cheating with the crosshairs. I suck at Duck Hunt anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But I'll give you guys that last one, and then we'll wrap things up. Man, this dog is annoying as heck. All right, you're gonna see me miss every single one now from here on out. It goes so fast, like out of the gate. All right, respectable. Don't worry, it's gonna get bad soon. See, told you. It's toast from here. Yeah. Ooh. Looks like that training is paying off, guys. See, we may be old. Oh, never mind. Never mind. See? Now the dog's gonna do his stupid laugh. Okay guys, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. The whole purpose of this is just to show you what's possible. Whether it be an Arcade1up, a full arcade machine, these guns are really fun to play with, but I just wanna let you know, they just can be a little finicky at times. So just keep that in mind. The Ultimarc gun is actually quite expensive too. It runs you about 100, and I think the one with the solenoid runs you a little bit more. So I'll leave links in the description of that. But there are other more cost-effective gun options. You can also use Dolphin bar and a Wiimote too. So you can definitely get that working here. I just think to recreate the experience, this thing looks pretty damn cool. And come on now, we were badass. Remember, we're trying to return back to our roots. So if you want to be badass, you need a badass gun. But you don't actually have to get something this expensive. There's other more cost-effective ones. I'm just gonna let you know, as a final thought to closing, although very fun, just expect that the gun games are not gonna always work. There's certain gun games, if you go to the Ultimarc website, they have special sort of lists of compatibility. You're also gonna deal with different versions of MAME to get different gun games to work. And you know how that goes. If you've ever done the MAME game with ROMs, you absolutely know, sometimes you get them to work, sometimes you don't. It just really depends. So, creating your own personal build of gun game favorites, you'll have to be a little bit of trial and error on your part. So that was the whole purpose of this. I hope you had fun with it. I had a blast. Terminator 2, I was actually playing it for like at least an hour before I filmed this. Super fun game, but very difficult game. I forgot how hard it was. All right guys, so that's a wrap. So if you like this video, please like it, please subscribe to the channel, please hit that little notification bell and give us a thumbs up if this is something that you enjoyed. And maybe this turns out that I build a full arcade cabinet with guns. I don't know, we'll see where this goes. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.